Thank you, Laura. Welcome, everyone. My name's Karen Tozer, and I'm the Programme Manager for Groundwork Yorkshire, and I've been a community development practitioner since the 1990s. And today is all about, I just really wanted to encourage in all forms to promote community development and community development values. Next slide. Natural environment. In our most disadvantaged areas, very often it is a mirror of the injustices and inequalities and socio-economic issues affecting those communities, from fly tipping to damaged parks, open spaces. It's all a reflection of the challenges facing these communities. And these are actual pictures that I've taken of projects that I've worked on in Hull. So it gives you some idea of you don't have to go too far to see the inequalities in these communities. Next slide, Laura. Okay, there are lots of ways we can use environmental action to promote social justice and equality. These images are from a project that I did in Hull called the Western Library Community Garden. It was the first library with its own purpose-built community garden, and the community were involved at all stages, from developing the mood boards and the ideas for the designs to the planting, to then managing, adding bits to it through workshops and hosting community events. They also have a steering group that manages the kind of library and oversees what activities are in the library garden. So that's kind of really good way of bringing in, promoting equality and social justice and putting communities at the heart of it. The next slide is a community development practitioners. We can use our environment to promote anti-discrimination, whether that's through the creation of inclusive spaces where everyone feels welcome, or the projects and activities we deliver that remove barriers to increase participation. It can all be done to bring communities together. Food, cooking, growing are all fantastic ways of bringing communities together and building connections and social kind of integrations. Next slide, Laura. Okay, we can help to, environmental action can help empower our communities in a range of ways. Using participatory rate appraisal as a means of helping communities identify their priorities and their needs is a fantastic way of engaging in environmental action. They can identify things they want to change in their communities, the way they want to change them, and the skills that they've got. And also creating opportunities for people to celebrate their achievements, to actually celebrate what they've done. Here's a picture of one of the Western Library Community Garden. They won an award at the Yorkshire in Bloom. So giving chance for communities to celebrate what they've actually achieved together, and the chance to share skills. At the top photo is two former homeless people that had worked on a project I delivered with the homeless, creating a community garden. One of them was an ex-veteran who'd been in the engineers, and he shared his construction skills with the other residents. And what they did, they went on to create an amazing space out of an old backyard with raised beds, planters for growing food. And then they actually produced some more planters, which they sent to MenCap and some of the other groups involved in the project. So but the joy it brought to the actually people involved and the skills building was immense. And if you have a look there, that was Laura might be able to share the slides later for you all to see, but that's a letter written called The Garden of Eldon by one of the participants. So that's just a brilliant way of empowering those communities. We could also there are different ways of using environmental action. It's collective action is a fantastic way of bringing communities together through cleanups, litter picks, creating spaces. There's an instant win, an instant impact. If the street's cleaner, if they've created a mural, if they've filled a skip full of rubbish, they can see the impact immediately. It's a fantastic way of seeing them showing them how positive collective action can be with providing immediate results. Nice quick wins within communities to infuse them and help encourage them to go on further. Next slide, Laura. So this one is around projects. We can use environmental action in a range of forms. It's not just growing, it's not just green skills. There's a whole range of kind of activities, upcycling, creating planters and spaces for like where you wouldn't normally grow, providing education and upskilling in the communities, opportunities for them to share. The one on the far left, we created an outdoor cob oven. So we trained, we got brought a trainer in to teach everyone how to build with cob. So using clay, straw, and sand to create a facility that's gone on then to be an outdoor oven that the community have used time and time again to cook pizzas and to create celebrations. Bottom left is a project that I'm involved in Hull called The Shed. And there we take waste materials that would have ended up in landfill and we help people build their skills and their confidence to repurpose, reuse, upcycle, and create really, really nice objects from what others might otherwise throw away. And the kind of bottom one is I took a load of community champions, so people that were involved in environmental projects, we took them away on a skills building workshop into the countryside, and they spent learning in a walled garden. And what they did, they still talk about it to this day, and they still remember. It's a really positive way of building bonds, upskilling people, and creating memories, which are vitally important for them to share in those communities. Next slide, Laura. Through environmental action, we can help communities to become more sustainable. We can help those living in cold homes. Here we have our green doctors on the left. They support residents that are living in cold homes. We can help them, introduce them to energy efficiency measures, help them to manage and understand their energy use better and become more efficient and sustainable. And we can help with the bills. On the far right and in the middle, we did a project here just after lockdown. This was our first one was, it's a giant jumble trail. We noticed that people during lockdown had accumulated loads of stuff, but they had very little money. And though we were still socially isolated, we could actually have a giant jumble trail where people were on their own doorsteps selling what they'd acquired, making some money, and helping other people to reuse while still social distancing. Bottom left, again, has more shots from the shed where we're upcycling and recycling. Middle one and the right are connected. The middle one is in Hull, we've delivered a community repaint scheme. This is, we work with businesses to divert viable paint from landfill. The paint then goes to support, we process it, sell it. It brings in an income for our charity, but it also enables people, community groups, charities and schools to access paint at really affordable prices. And we're stopping kind of waste going to landfill, because since 2018, liquid waste has not been permitted to landfill. So it comes at a cost to communities to dispose of liquid paint, and it's one of the biggest microplastic contributors. So helping to sustain the planet through diverting viable paint is a really good way. So reuse, encouraging repurposing and reuse is a really way of encouraging sustainability within our communities. Next slide, Laura. Okay, so the inclusive, resilient and sustainable places. Through environment action, we can help communities to become more to create safe places where communities feel welcome. These images here are from a project called Dynamic Drains that we've delivered in Hull. And this is where we've worked with the community to transform blue-green spaces into places where people and nature can thrive together. So this was former all bland municipal grass. We've put in footpaths along desired lines. We've put in stone features. We've planted a wealth of trees. We've put in dipping platforms and worked with schools and local young people to create murals. And we've transformed these spaces that were just attracting fly tipping and kind of antisocial behaviour into places that the community really value and use now. Next slide, please, like Laura. Okay. We can use community development practice to improve climate change and help communities adjust to climate change, whether that's through water butting. Water butting is a fantastic way of diverting wastewater from our systems, and we can use it to irrigate our gardens. We can use it to create ponds and reduce flood risk. Bog gardens are a fantastic way of transforming kind of areas of land prone to flooding. We can create gardens and they can reduce the flood risk within our communities. We've got living roofs. Living roofs can put on sheds. They also can help. Not only do they attract pollinators, but they can kind of help mitigate against flood. They're taking in water. They're creating a habitat and the kind of preventing surface water runoff. The bottom right is a garden transformation in Manchester. This was an alleyway. They've transformed it with planters and things and created a green corridor to increase biodiversity, attract pollinators, but also to reimagine a space. And the middle one here is a rain garden. Rain gardens are a fantastic way of helping to mitigate against flood risk. We can divert water into them and prevent flooding in spaces that are prone to flooding. And again, sustainable urban drainage is another great way of kind of creating and improving biodiversity, but also protecting and mitigating against climate change. Next slide, Laura. Okay, environmental action and community development are also fantastic ways of helping people to improve their health and well-being. There's a kind of old saying that if you teach a child to grow kale, it'll eat kale. And I'm not sure on that, but I think there is a definite principles. If you teach children the skills to grow their own food, they will eat more healthy. They'll know where their food came from. They'll understand it tastes completely different. They'll feel more connected. Also, just by the action of growing and working in nature, there's a positive therapeutic impact, and just from the absence of being with nature, and kind of it helps you unwind, it helps reduce stress, and it's very impactful. We see it in our kind of green social prescribing now. The NHS have adopted it. It's not just about the eating, it's about the whole being with nature. And again, if we create spaces that are improved, cleaner, brighter, we can actually use them for recreation. The top right here is a project we did in Hull. It was called Cooking Up a Picnic. So we taught them to cook. We took them out on litter picks. We improved the spaces. So then they did kind of team games, sports, families exercising and being together. And it was a really positive environment. And it just encourages people to actually use the space for what they're for. Kind of the bottom one here is a community allotment. Again, a community allotment can bring people together rather than just a single person's allotment. Having an allotment as a group can really help people connect with nature, connect with each other, build social bonds.